Milk is the one product everyone in Britain thinks is simple. It comes from a cow, it goes in a bottle, it ends up in your fridge. But the milk aisle in 2026 is not simple anymore. Some of the most popular milk products contain added sugar, sweeteners and stabilisers that have nothing to do with milk. One of Britain's biggest dairy companies trialled a chemical feed additive on its cows without telling consumers which bottles were affected. We're counting down 8 products to think twice about and 3 safe picks. Starting with a children's favourite at number 8. 8th place opens with a familiar bottle in the hands of British children, Yazoo chocolate flavoured milk. Behind the cartoon cow and health claims sits a drink that is, nutritionally, closer to a fizzy cola than to plain milk. The ingredient list spells it out: semi-skimmed milk, sugar, fat-reduced cocoa powder, cellulose gum, carrageenan and natural flavourings. Action on Sugar's latest audit puts Yazoo chocolate at 9.4 grams of sugar per 100 millilitres. For a standard 400 milliliter bottle, that means 35.6 grams of sugar, about 9 teaspoons, the same as most leading colas. While the label promotes protein and calcium, it quietly delivers a sugar load that would surprise most parents. Stabilising agents like cellulose gum and carrageenan keep the texture creamy but have no nutritional benefit. Friesland Campina is part of a trio, alongside Arla and Muller, that bottles over 80% of the UK's liquid milk, including most supermarket-owned label brands. So what looks like a choice between brands is often just a choice of label. Yazoo's place here is a warning: high-sugar milk drinks are sold with the authority of dairy, but their nutritional profile belongs on the soft drinks shelf. Number 7 brings Muller Frijj milkshakes into focus, a product that turns the milk fridge into a dessert aisle. A single 400 milliliter bottle of Frijj chocolate delivers a staggering 41.6 grams of sugar, more than 10 teaspoons, making it one of the sweetest drinks on the shelf. Action on Sugar's audit pegs Frijj at 10.4 grams of sugar per 100 milliliters, outpacing even other flavoured milks, but it does not stop at sugar. The ingredient panel reads like a chemistry set: sugar syrup, fructose, modified maize starch and a cocktail of stabilisers. These additives thicken the drink and boost sweetness but bring no nutritional benefit. While the branding leans hard on playful graphics and the promise of protein and calcium, the reality is a milkshake engineered for maximum indulgence, not everyday refreshment. Frijj's ultra-processed profile with its dual sweeteners and complex thickeners sets it apart even among high-sugar milk drinks. For shoppers expecting a wholesome dairy option, Frijj is a dessert in disguise best left out of the regular trolley. Number 6 puts supermarket-owned brand flavoured milks under the spotlight, revealing a hidden sugar trap disguised as a bargain. These bottles, often found just inches from plain milk, appeal to families on a budget with price tags 20 to 30% lower than branded shakes. But the savings come with a hidden cost. Take Morrison's white chocolate flavoured milk. A single 330 milliliter bottle contains 36 grams of sugar, about 9 teaspoons. That is more sugar per serving than a typical can of cola. Across the supermarket sector, own-label chocolate and strawberry milks routinely deliver 8 to 10 grams of sugar per 100 milliliters, matching or exceeding the levels found in the biggest branded milkshakes. Audits by Action on Sugar confirm that these drinks, despite their simple packaging and supermarket branding, are loaded with added sugar. Yet the health claims on the front, calcium, protein and vitamin D, divert attention from what is really inside. Placement next to plain milk only deepens the illusion, making it easy to mistake these sweetened shakes for a wholesome choice. For shoppers looking to stretch the weekly budget, own brand flavoured milk seems like a safe pick. In reality, it is a soft drink in disguise, with all the sugar and none of the transparency. The low price may tempt, but the nutritional cost is far higher than most realise. Number 5 brings UHT long life milk under the microscope, a staple of British pantries that promises convenience, but quietly trades off freshness and nutrition. UHT, which stands for ultra-high temperature milk, undergoes a process that heats it from 135 to 145 degrees Celsius for just 2 to 5 seconds. That is nearly double the temperature of standard pasteurization, which uses 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. This intense heat kills more bacteria and extends shelf life to as long as 6 months without refrigeration, making UHT milk a favourite for bulk buyers and anyone looking to avoid frequent shopping trips. But the science of longer shelf life comes with a sensory and nutritional price. UHT treatment triggers Maillard reactions, chemical changes that give the milk a slightly caramelized, cooked taste, a world away from the clean, fresh flavour of standard pasteurised milk. More importantly, the high heat destroys a portion of heat-sensitive vitamins. Food science analyses show UHT milk contains noticeably less vitamin C and folate than its fresh counterpart. While the losses are modest, they are not disclosed on the front of the carton, and the product is still marketed as nutritionally equivalent to fresh milk. For a product that sits on the shelf for 6 months, the trade-off is rarely spelled out. A longer life, but a slight drop in micronutrients and a taste that is often described as flat or cooked. The label highlights the convenience, but the nutritional differences are buried in the fine print. For shoppers seeking real milk, UHT is a compromise. It is still legally milk, but altered by a process that prioritizes logistics over flavor and full nutrition. Number 4 turns the spotlight on Arla Cravendale filtered milk, a bottle that commands a premium price for a promise of longer shelf life, not better nutrition. Cravendale's pitch is all about its unique cold ceramic filtration process. Before pasteurization, the milk is pushed through fine ceramic membranes that strip out up to 99.9% of bacteria and spores. The result is a product that can sit unopened in your fridge for up to 3 weeks, far beyond the usual 7 days of standard fresh milk. But here is the catch. Nutritional analysis shows there is no measurable difference in protein, fat, calcium or vitamin content between Cravendale and any basic supermarket own brand milk. The filtration is purely about extending shelf life, not boosting health value, yet the price tag tells a different story. According to Agriculture and Horticulture Development Board retail data, a litre of Cravendale typically costs 30 to 50% more than equivalent own brand fresh milk, a gap that adds up fast for families. The branding leans heavily on purity and freshness, but the extra cost buys time, not nutrients. For shoppers, the question is simple. Is 3 weeks of fridge life really worth paying half again as much? When the only real difference is how long it sits on the shelf, Cravendale's premium is a textbook case of processing and marketing outpacing genuine nutritional benefit. Number 3 brings plant-based drinks like Oatly Original into sharp focus, opening a debate about what truly belongs in the milk aisle. Oatly's flagship product, for example, is not a simple oat infusion. The carton lists water as the main ingredient, with just 10% oats, followed by rapeseed oil, calcium carbonate, sea salt, a range of added vitamins and stabilisers like gellan gum and locust bean gum. This is a carefully engineered drink, about 86% water and oil, with the oat fraction supplying flavour and a trace of fibre. Rapeseed oil delivers most of the fat, while the added calcium and vitamins are there to mimic the nutrition panel of cow's milk. Stabilisers and acidity regulators are required to keep the drink smooth and shelf-stable, a far cry from the simplicity of fresh dairy. The nutritional numbers confirm the difference. Oatly Original offers just 0.5 grams of protein per 100 millilitres, barely a tenth of what is found in standard cow's milk. Yet the branding leans heavily on the idea of equivalence. Fortification with calcium, vitamin D2 and vitamin B12 is necessary for legal parity, but these nutrients are added in the factory, not present from the raw ingredients. For consumers seeking transparency, the back of the carton tells a different story than the front. The legal context matters too. In 2024, the UK Intellectual Property Office denied Oatly's attempt to trademark the phrase post-milk generation, ruling that the term milk must be reserved for animal-derived products. In February 2026, the Supreme Court upheld this restriction, citing the risk of misleading consumers who expect milk to come from mammals, not oats. Oatly and similar brands are now required to remove milk from their packaging and advertising, aligning the UK with existing European rules. This is not an argument against plant-based drinks. The issue is whether shoppers are making informed choices. When a product built from water, oil, oats and additives is sold alongside fresh milk, the lines blur. The ingredient list reveals what the label often hides. These are engineered drinks designed to look and pour like milk, but fundamentally different in composition and nutrition. For anyone seeking plain milk, a quick scan of the ingredients is the only way to know what is really in the glass. Number 2 pulls the curtain back on protein and fortified milks, a category that has exploded across UK supermarket shelves with promises of extra muscle and nutritional superiority. The pitch is simple. These bottles claim to deliver 50% more protein or a boosted dose of vitamins and minerals, often splashed across the label in bold, gym-inspired graphics. But the numbers tell a different story. A standard pint of fresh, semi-skimmed milk already contains around 10 grams of protein, enough to cover a significant portion of an adult's daily requirement. The so-called high-protein milks typically reach 15 grams per pint, a modest increase that comes at a steep price. Retail audits in March 2026 show these products can cost up to twice as much per litre as plain milk, translating to a price per gram of protein that rivals sports supplements rather than groceries. The secret behind the bump is almost always milk protein concentrate or the use of ultrafiltration, a process that removes water and some minerals, concentrating the protein fraction. Yet for most consumers, the nutritional gain is marginal. The body absorbs protein from plain milk just as efficiently, and the baseline levels already meet the needs of all but the most dedicated athletes. Fortified milks often add extra calcium, vitamin D or B vitamins, but these nutrients are already present in adequate amounts in a balanced diet or in the milk itself. For the average shopper, the result is a premium price tag attached to a product that offers little real-world benefit over the basic version. What is more, the marketing leans heavily on the language of strength and active lifestyles, encouraging health-conscious shoppers to pay more for what is at its core a minor tweak to an already complete food. A closer look at the nutrition panel reveals that the difference is often less than a single gram of protein per 100 millilitres. In a cost of living crisis, every penny counts, and these milks deliver more hype than substance. For anyone comparing labels, the message is clear: plain milk already does the job. The premium for protein and fortification is a triumph of branding, not nutrition. And finally, in first place, the Arla milk sold across Britain during the Bovaer feed trial stands as the sharpest example of how consumer choice can be quietly erased from the milk aisle. The story begins in late November 2024 when Arla Foods, the UK's largest dairy processor, announced a partnership with Tesco, Morrisons and Aldi to test Bovaer, a synthetic feed additive containing 3-nitrooxypropanol, on 30 dairy farms spread across England, Scotland and Wales. The goal was to cut methane emissions from cows by an advertised 27%, part of a high-profile push for greener farming. For 90 days, from winter into spring, milk from these trial farms entered Arla's regular collection network. But here is the critical point: there was no segregation. Milk from cows fed the additive was pooled with milk from non-trial farms, processed as usual, and delivered to supermarket shelves under the same Arla and private label brands. Not a single bottle or carton carried a label identifying its origin from the Bovaer trial. The Food Standards Agency and the European Food Safety Authority both confirmed that Bovaer is metabolised in the cow's stomach and does not appear in the milk. That position was repeated in public statements and fact checks by Full Fact and Reuters. Yet the absence of any consumer-facing information meant that shoppers had no way to know if their milk came from a trial farm or not. As the trial unfolded, public reactions split sharply. Social media lit up with videos of customers pouring milk down the drain, fueled by viral claims about chemicals in your food. parliamentary questions followed, with MPs pressing DEFRA to review the lack of labelling and to consider whether consumers deserved the right to choose. The Soil Association, Britain's leading organic certifier, weighed in with a clear stance. Synthetic additives like Bovaer are banned in organic production, and any milk from treated cows would be ineligible for organic certification. Yo Valley, a major organic brand, issued its own statement confirming that its milk remained Bovaer free throughout the period. By August 2025, the trial had formally concluded on most farms, and Arla announced that analysis of the emissions data was ongoing. The additive had delivered the promised methane reduction, but the core issue lingered. The milk from trial farms had entered the national supply chain with no distinction and no label. The Food Standards Agency reiterated that the product was safe, but campaigners and some industry voices argued that safety is not the only standard. Transparency and consumer consent matter too. This episode draws together every thread running through the modern UK milk market. A handful of processors control most of the supply, supermarket-owned label bottles are physically identical at the point of processing, and a regulatory system allows significant changes in farm practice to pass unnoticed by the end buyer. For shoppers who want to avoid this kind of supply chain opacity, 3 options stand out. Organic milk, certified by the Soil Association, guarantees no Bovaer or similar additives. Plain, pasteurised supermarket and own brand milk with a single ingredient and no marketing spin is the most straightforward conventional option. Local dairy or milkman delivery offers short supply chains and direct knowledge of farm practices. The Bovaer trial did not make Arla's milk unsafe, but by removing the ability to know what is in the bottle, it set a new standard for how easily consumer choice can be sidelined in the name of progress. In an industry where the label on the bottle is often the only line of defence, transparency is not a luxury, it is the bare minimum. Across all 8 entries, one pattern is clear. The UK milk aisle is dominated by products marketed as healthy, pure or premium, yet they are often loaded with added sugars, unnecessary fortification or hidden processing, and they are controlled by just a few giant companies. When ingredient lists grow and transparency shrinks, real consumer choice disappears. In British milk, simplicity and honesty are now the rarest ingredients. Let us know your thoughts below.